In order to establish boundaries, you need to be clear with your partner who you are, what you want, your beliefs, your limits, and your values. Is it important or necessary to have these boundaries in relationships? I've asked some of my friends to shed light on this topic.
Okay, so relationship boundaries. For me personally, I think going into a relationship and setting boundaries for me is already an indication that both of you have underlying issues. So for me, I think rather than you setting boundaries with your partner, I think you should have an effective communication system. So much so that if you have things that upset you, probably from a past relationship, or things that upset you, or that has over the past experiences you've had with other people, has informed how you want to be treated. If it's an insecurity, if it's born out of an insecurity or born out of somebody not treating you right, I think the best way to resolve it with a spouse or a partner that you want to spend a long time with or you want to be with permanently is to have an effective communication over whatever that thing is, rather than set boundaries. Because for me, if you already set boundaries in a relationship, it means that you will never be able to really deal with the issue of whatever is informing that those boundaries you're about to set. So rather than have boundaries that sort of takes you apart in a relationship, I think you should have communication system, an effective communication system, so that you are able to talk about anything effectively and understand that both of you are going to be looking out for each other and looking out for each other's best interest. That way, you don't set boundaries that push you aside. You have communications that bring you together, even though you have differences.
Different views, because boundaries basically just it kind of like cages you. You never really be able to tell the full extent to which somebody will react to something that you have a prior notion about. I think it would be fair to give that person, your partner, an opportunity to express themselves, and in expressing themselves, setting boundaries just puts a stopgap, it puts a gap, a plug in whatever it is you guys are trying to deal with. It's not for me, for us, it's not an effective way of resolving any issue.
Exactly.
Boundary doesn't really, for us, help. Communication helps. And having said that, some certain boundaries have to be set as regards to how you relate with other people, how other people affect your relationship
as a couple,
or as being partners. Because, for example, you cannot have best friends of the opposite sex who play go-to figures for you in your relationship. What I mean by that is, you have someone who the slightest issue that you and your partner have, you're running off to someone else who you find as a solace. I don't think is right. A lot of people do it. I have this best friend, my buddy. I don't think it's right. You cannot have someone who, when you're not in good terms or when you're not in tune with your partner, you're running off to that person. You're dishing off the responsibility and the thing that brings about the bond that you and your partner should have. You're giving it to someone else. You're giving that pride and that
space
to someone else. You shouldn't have someone of the opposite sex. Man don't have a girl as your best friend. A lady don't have a boy as a best friend. It doesn't work. It will never work
if you're in a relationship. And the truth is, I think setting boundaries sort of fuels those kind of energy, because the moment you start setting boundaries with your spouse, it means this is a no-no, we can't talk about it. So if you have a situation that makes your spouse uncomfortable and that situation is a boundary he has already set before you went into the relationship, then you can no longer have the communication with that person as far as that topic is concerned. And now you need to find other people. So I think for me, it's a no-no. For us to set boundaries in our relationship.
It's better talking about whatever it is, however it comes, talk about it right there and then. Setting boundaries is not going to help that relationship. It's not going to bring out the true potential. You're not going to see that person, because I'm always going to have it at the back of my mind that if my partner doesn't like this, and if I don't know how he's going to react to it when I talk about this. And sometimes you have insecurities about if the person really wants to go further in the relationship, and having such boundaries with regards to how you guys are going to push whatever issues that you have.
It limits communication, essentially. For me, I think boundaries just stifles communication, and that's not nice. So we do not subscribe to boundaries with each other. We subscribe to boundaries as to how you as a couple relate with other people.
So we're talking boundaries in relationships. Should a relationship have boundaries? In my opinion, no. I believe a relationship needs to have respect. Respect goes a long way. When you know your partner, you know what they like, you know what they don't like, and you wouldn't expect them to be engaging in things that you don't like, just as much as they wouldn't expect the same of you. So we need to be able to communicate openly and freely and let a relationship flow naturally. At the end of the day, it's not a driving lesson. It's not a construction project. We are not trying to have rules of engagement. We cannot be saying this is what you do and this is what you don't do in this relationship. This is how you conduct X, Y, Z. This is how you do A, B, C. No, we are trying to build a future. We are trying to establish something solid. So we need to be able to communicate freely and openly, but ultimately, respect is number one in a relationship. There is no need for unnecessary boundaries.
Of course, there should be boundaries in relationships. But while setting boundaries, be clear about your love for your partner while being clear about your boundaries. That way they know that you really love them and you are ready to make the relationship work. For example, you tell your partner, babe, if you can put your dirty clothes in the laundry room by 8 a.m. every Saturday morning, I'll be happy to wash them for you. This is you telling him that you do your laundry by 8 a.m. and you have no problems washing his clothes, but not beyond or below 8 a.m. And then by 1 p.m. when you're relaxing with your bottle of wine, enjoying your favorite series, and then he comes out with his boxers and his trousers and he's like, babe, please, can you really help you do what? Now wahala you define with that, you define serious trouble. So please, let's learn to respect each other's boundaries in relationships.
Okay, boundaries are very, very necessary. It is necessary in every relationship, especially marriage relationship. Boundaries defines who you are as a person. Okay, it's like a map or a framework that aligns acceptable behaviors in that relationship. Okay, there are a lot of misconceptions about boundaries or whether they should be set in relationships or what they are. Boundaries doesn't mean that you're selfish or controlling or you want to change your partner or you want to punish your partner. Absolutely not. Instead, boundaries will help you to connect with your partner because it's a communication. You engage in conversations. You align your needs. You'll be able to discover your partner's needs, likes, dislikes, flaws, values, goals, limits. Okay, boundaries helps us to achieve all these things. You know, where there's boundaries are lacking, it's one of the partners are likely to fall victim of emotional abuse or physical abuse, neglect, or being bullied or disrespected. But when we set boundaries, we know each other's limits. When we set boundaries, we're able to say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I prefer. It is okay to lay out your preferences. It is okay. Okay, it's necessary so that both of you will meet each other halfway. Relationship is about give and take. You agree. When you set boundaries, you mutually agree to these boundaries. It doesn't have to be rigid. It could change over time depending on the situation of things, or it could change. It doesn't have to be so rigid. So boundaries helps us to exercise our rights, exercise our freedom. It helps us to know our self-worth, our self-esteem. When there are no boundaries and you put up with bad behavior, one of the partners will likely to resent the partner, okay? And it doesn't go well in the relationship. One has to be happy. If you're happy, self-worth is very important. Self-love, we need to practice that. If you're happy in the relationship, if you're happy with yourself, you will be happy in the relationship. So it's important. This is what boundaries do for you. Thank you very much.
We'll be talking about boundaries, whether it's okay to have boundaries in a relationship or marriages, as you see. Yeah.
What are boundaries anyways?
Okay, let's see. Boundaries. Where you draw the line to something, where I end and where someone else begins. So
I'd say, okay, is where I end and where you start. Or better still, or the you in us and the me in us.
okay. Yeah. So
You think it's necessary?
Of course. Most definitely, it's necessary. Depending on the type of boundaries, some are not necessary, some are unhealthy, and some are healthy. So, establishing healthy boundaries is very important.
So the key there is healthy.
Yes, healthy boundaries is very important in relationships, marriages, friendship. Basically, in everything you do in life, boundaries are important. Actually.
Okay, I think it also helps partners to feel comfortable and also develop positive self-esteem.
Yes, helps you to understand the other person better. I think so. So basically, Charmz, the point is, I think boundaries are important. Stop checking me out. Boundaries are important in relationships.
Well, I don't know what you're laughing. I could send this if it's cool.
Yeah, so boundaries are important.
Basically, also set guidelines of how I want to be treated and how you want to be treated and how we should treat each other.
Yeah, true. So you understand the other person's beliefs, where the person is coming from. And also in drawing boundaries, healthy boundaries, I think also there should be room for, you should be open-minded and there should be a bit room for compromise. Yes.
Okay, being open-minded now would mean if we are to set out in a relationship, I have to be clear with you who I am, what I want, my beliefs, values, and probably my limits.
Yes, and I have to be open-minded.
Yeah, for me to okay, I've expressed myself. So you have to be open-minded
yes,
to appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, you express yourself. I should be open-minded to appreciate it.
Yes.
But what happens? So if I'm not cool with it, then probably, and if I'm not ready to compromise, then probably we shouldn't be in a relationship.
There's no point, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Areas to create boundaries, financials,
every area of your life, actually, everything.
past lives.
Everything.
What do you think? Should you share?
Not all.
Not all. Why? Why keep some?
Because we are humans. Well, all are important, but we are all humans. You would tend to.
Don't you think it makes you vulnerable? Sometime in future, something it comes up to haunt you.
Yeah, that's my point.
Isn't it better your partner knows?
Well, that's one side of it, but also because we're also humans, the partner will tend to, if you show a trait of something you did in the past, a long time ago, your partner will most likely tend to refer to you at that time.
Okay.
So sometimes it's to find the balance. That's where the wisdom is, to finding the balance. Yeah.
Okay. And even in sexual expressions, like I say, I'm cool with kissing you, but not in public.
Conversations.
Oh, really? PG?
I don't know.
Okay. I think we're limited to 2 minutes. I'm sure we are way beyond 2 minutes.
So boundaries, healthy boundaries are very important. Compromise and balance.
Thank you.
Today we're talking about boundaries in relationships, and in my opinion, I think there should be boundaries in every relationship. Yes, boundaries actually define your relationship or the level of relationship you have with someone. And by boundaries, we are not talking about rules or regulations that guide two people in a relationship. No, we're talking about you understanding the kind of person that you're with, their personal idiosyncrasies or individual differences. Then try to respect these things about them so that you don't cause them physical, psychological, or emotional pain. Take, for example, you're with a spouse or a partner who doesn't like you going through their mobile phones or checking their personal messages. Please do respect these things about them. It doesn't mean this person is cheating on you or doesn't love you. No. It simply means this is a space that this person cherishes and wouldn't want invasion. And mind you, getting married eventually doesn't change this code, because some people might want to argue, okay, once you're married, you're now one and everybody should have access to everything. No. Things you respected while you're dating or you're in courtship, you should also respect them even after you're married. Because when you start taking some of these things for granted, it will start bringing strains into the relationship and eventually you start having problems. So in my opinion, I believe that there should be boundaries in every relationship and the boundaries should be respected. Thank you.